everyone. Welcome to this episode of Arthritis at Home. My name is Cheryl Koehn. I'm with Arthritis Consumer Experts. We host this terrific program online, and I couldn't be happier to have you with us, first of all, and also to be joined in our digital studio by Ms. Phyllis Gregg. It's a pleasure to see you, Phyllis. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Very, very well. Phyllis, we're going to be talking to our audience today about actually a topic that doesn't get discussed enough, and that's about obesity and arthritis. And we're going to touch on this topic through your lens, through your personal experience. So first of all, thank you so much for agreeing to speak to us. It's really, people have to go deep inside to talk about some of these things that are sort of social taboos, if you will. Just thank you for joining us, Phyllis. I'm going to tell our audience a little bit about you. So you're a member of our team, our Arthritis Consumer Experts team, and you're our social media and administration coordinator. You've been struggling with obesity most of your adult life, and you've been living with osteoarthritis for about the last decade in a pronounced way. I want to start by asking you to share with our audience, where did your struggle, where and when do you feel your struggle with weight gain, let's call it, started? What do you think also were the causes of it? Like, just give us what you think was that early experience and when you could see your body changing.
Well, thank you for one thing. Thank you for letting me do this. This is something that I have struggled with most of my, I'm going to say right around 35, 36, 37 years old. I'm now 63. And before I enjoyed a life of skiing, of roller skating, of hiking, of doing everything. And then I started gaining weight around right after 35, and I really struggled with it. Then when I went into the late 40s, that's where it really started hitting, of where that weight, the pounds started coming on. I was eating the same way that I have always eaten, and I could not understand why that I was ballooning so high in my weight. Everybody gauges weight, and I think a lot of women do, and even myself included for sure. How do my pair of pants fit?
Yeah.
And
the old clothes test. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I have to tell you, I was afraid to get on a scale.
Yeah.
And I did not want to go there. But my realization, and for asking out for help, and I'm going to be totally honest with everybody out there, is when I hit 320 pounds. Wow. 320 pounds.
So pause that thought for a second, Phyllis, because I want to ask you causes. So you couldn't figure out why you were gaining weight. Usually people gain weight because their activity level drops, their calorie intake, usually their fueling, I call it, stays the same. And the stuff they're putting into their body, the food sources they're putting into their body, aren't of the type that are conducive to fuel. Like they're sort of detrimental to fueling your body rather than making your body feel like it can be active and do all the things that you listed in that list of activities. Do you think that choices were an issue for you?
They were.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, as you start gaining weight, you're thinking, if I have this piece of candy, if I have this soda, it gives you that little burst of energy of where you can do something for a half hour.
Yeah.
And sure, you can do something for a half hour, but it just wreaks havoc inside your body.
Yeah.
So, and that's including continuing to gain weight. The results of this, besides the weight gain, the obesity, is where I could no longer go up a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
I could no longer sit on the floor and get up. I could no longer crawl around with my grandchildren. I was you even your gait, your walking changes. You're
trying to propel all that weight forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And which means that your feet do not lift up off the ground as well. Your balance is off. So there's so many things that, as I reflect on it, that I know that due to my obesity, this is where I was going to. And I cried. I thought about this. And then I reached out to somebody that I knew could help me. Somebody that I knew I could discuss and tell my failures to. Somebody I knew I could tell my successes to, and it wasn't going anywhere. I knew that I could just be me with this person.
So you found that move from, I mean, I know you shared with me this sentiment about your own body weight. It's hard to do something to help yourself when you hate yourself.
Exactly.
It's hard to flip that coin over in your head. So hard. So first of all, just immense congratulations to you for taking that step. It is probably, with obesity, one of the toughest things is to actually say, I need help. And we hear that theme recurrent in arthritis. Living with a chronic disease, as you also do now, it's really hard when you consider yourself a strong, independent person to ask for help. Phyllis, most people in our audience don't realize that osteoarthritis is increasing and is largely driven by the increase in obesity at the population level. And obesity can cause osteoarthritis. Just being 10 pounds overweight can drive pressure on the joint. So 10 pounds equates to somewhere between 15 to 50 pounds of pressure on joints, primarily hips and knees, ankles, which are those that are carrying your, the bulk of that weight. So when you say you reached out to this person, it's like, what would you say were the 3 things that made you want to reach out and change your life?
It was not an aha moment. It was something that I really reflected on, because my depression, I felt so depressed about myself that I couldn't do things that I used to be able to do. And at that point of where you don't want to bend over to pick up a piece of paper, when you don't want to go to work, when you don't want to get up out of bed, that's where I knew that I had to reach out. So when I reached out to my person, I actually, I was in tears, and I literally said, I need help. And this person loves me enough of who I am, my total person, that she was going to help me. And I thought that was that's the turning point right there. It was not of where she told me, okay, we're going to get started on this right then. I actually gave her parameters of what I knew that I could do at that time.
Yeah.
And she came back not quite a month later and took that time for me. She gave me a plan. And that wasn't just including just exercise flat out. It was a total new life change.
Yeah, I love that term, new life, because, as human beings, we like forward looking. I think we like thinking about something that has promise for us in our lives. And, there's in research, Phyllis, there's a SMART goal. So you sit down, there's actually a research informed way of sitting down and working up a plan like this. And with our audience at the end, we're going to share some of those on slides so that people can go explore for themselves, so that they can, you know, find a way to hopefully ask for help and find the kind of information they may need if they're interested in pursuing, you know, addressing weight issues. What are some of the elements for you? When you said it's not just about exercise, what are some of the big pieces of the plan that you follow every day?
It has to really do with, it started out with diet.
So new fuel, as I call it, fuel.
It was fuel.
Yeah.
And that was including going through every single thing in my cupboard, every single thing in my refrigerator with the trash can. So, and I have to say, my husband was like going, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
So I said, I told him, I'm starting a new life. I have to feel better. It had nothing to do with body image or anything else. It actually had to do with, I want to get out of bed in the morning.
So it sounds like, you know, you kind of changed your view of how you fueled your body.
Exactly.
I mean, I know because you shared with me, you began to exercise, and that exercise started slow for you because at the weight you were at, you couldn't do huge long bouts of exercise. So they were 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You built, you shared with me up to where you can now do a full hour of exercise. And for you, it seems like, Phyllis, that balance, because of your long-standing, the pounds, the pressure that were on your joints, and your osteoarthritis, you also had to juggle and balance that, oh my gosh, doing this exercise is painful. It's a bit of a push me, pull me. You're starting to get fitter slowly. And then conversely, your exercise level could go up because you could do that exercise. We should be clear with the audience. Weight loss doesn't reverse osteoarthritis, but it sure makes it a lot less painful. I would love to close, Phyllis, with, if you're willing, a disclosure of your current weight and where you hope to be in the early new year of 2023.
You know, right now I'm at 255. Don't get me wrong, it has been a hard journey.
But Phyllis, that's amazing.
But it's something that I am not going to stop because I feel so much better.
Yeah, it's your new life. It's your new life.
Yeah, not only physically, but the biggest part for me is I feel better mentally.
Yeah.
Of where that depression has lifted on the inside of me, of where I have no problem getting up in the morning. I have no problem saying good morning. I have no problem on doing different things.
Yeah.
So that's been the biggest thing for me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Phyllis. That's just incredible. And again, reiterating, it's not a number, but having goals and understanding what your ideal body weight is, and understanding the impact the weight has on osteoarthritis, on the progression of it, and on the severity of it, is so important for our audience. Osteoarthritis is the #1 form of arthritis. You know, 95% of the people out there who are living with a diagnosed arthritis are living with osteoarthritis. So what you've shared with us about turning the corner, making the commitment on your new life, not just to address, as you've so graciously shared with us, depression, you know, the inner struggle that you have had in making a change, is just so important for the audience. And if in fact you are out there in the audience and you want to make a change, or you want help building a plan, you can always reach out to us at feedback@jointhealth.org. Thank you, Phyllis, for coming in, and we'll see you next week. Some key takeaways from our conversation with Phyllis include these bullet points on this slide and the two that follow. So we know a The term obese or obesity means a person weighs more than 30% of their ideal body weight. We're providing you here with a link to an ideal body weight calculator, and we really encourage you to visit this link to figure out what your BMI or your body mass index score is. That's what this calculator gives you. You'll need to know your height and weight, and those two things should preferably be measured at your doctor's office. Can see here the table below shows you what BMI score turns into in terms of classification. So if you're in between 18.5 and 24.9, you're normal or healthy weight. If that climbs to 25 to 29.9, you're considered overweight. 30 and up, you're considered obese, or 40 and up on the BMI score, you're considered severely obese. So there is a direct connection between obesity and arthritis, that if you gain 1 pound, the pressure on the joint actually is like 3 to 4 pounds of weight gain. And that additional stress on the joint pressures the cartilage and actually can break the cartilage down and eventually causes the two bones to rub together. Because they have no protection on the ends of them and they start grinding on each other. You can see here in this picture of an x-ray of someone who is obese, they've lost a lot of that joint space on the right-hand side. You can see how it's more narrow than that on the left side, which is a healthy amount of joint space. Often people like this will appear to be kind of knock-kneed because their joint literally is sitting inside their body and it's crooked. Causes a lot of pain and can cause a lot of disability. So you'll lose the ability to do things that are very important to you. People who are obese are certainly more likely to need a joint replacement, and the most common areas for these joint replacements are in the knees and the hips. So doing all that you can to maintain or return to your ideal body weight is vitally important to preventing or treating osteoarthritis. One of the first steps that you need to take or can take once you're ready is to make a plan to address your obesity. Research shows that using a smart approach to planning leads to a greater chance for success. Here's a really good example on the right-hand side that follows on the left-hand side this acronym called SMART. So SMART goals are goals that are specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're realistic, and they're also timely. So here's the example on the right. One of my goals is to get better nutrition from the foods I eat. So starting today, I will eat raw vegetables at lunch and cooked vegetables at dinner every day. So you can see here, this example is very specific. This person is setting the goal of getting better nutrition from the foods they eat. It's measurable. They can actually, on a chart, tick off that they ate raw vegetables at lunch and cooked vegetables at dinner. It's relatively achievable. I mean, it means that you need to have these foods in your refrigerator, and it's relatively realistic. And then it's timely. This person set the goal that they started today. They articulated they wanted to start today. So timeliness is a very important part of SMART goal setting.